And together we will guide you through the next 3 hours of absolutely on music. And before we give you some or present you some proper tracks, Mark, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. The weather is good in Hamburg. I just had a small drive down Elbchaussee, which is something like, you said it, it's something like Ocean Drive for Hamburg status.
Exactly.
And yes, I got some tunes with me, and I think it's going to be a good one today.
Then.
I'm here.
Yes,
no traffic jams.
Finally here, no traffic jam, and finally some proper music. So generally, like, since you're a club owner, let's focus on that for just a second. So how's it going up there, and with all the pandemic at the moment, and how do you basically cope with the entire situation? Like, how has your life maybe changed over the past 1.5 years?
Well, I was listening to a podcast today, and somebody said it seemed like a dream somebody woke out of. So now not being able to do shows or to promote events, it feels like the dream is over. But, well, the club is still there. We even managed to found a label during the pandemic, and yeah, we try to keep on going, like everybody who's still in the race.
Exactly. Like, I was just wondering, like, since the pandemic basically hit the entire club life in Germany, and then now with basically no income or proper income due to the situation, like a lot of artists have to kind of switch jobs. So how do you do, or what do you do at the moment?
Yeah, I was one of those artists, and I actually treated my normal job with a job I could do exactly the amount of time until my old job starts back again, and that is I'm testing people on the virus actually since March, and it's not that easy actually, because the time I need to focus on that job is enormous.
Yeah, it's probably taking a lot of energy to be honest, like working a day job and also being active in the nightlife, or having a nightlife job as well. But seems things seem to, well, I'm not saying like change entirely to better, but you're open again. I heard at least like not the club itself, but the bar or so. So what's the schedule for maybe the next few weeks, since we cannot really think of a future or think of like the further months, since we all do not know what is going to happen?
Well, we just continue to book our bar sessions, which you could compare to something like listening bars, from which some may know from Asia, where actually DJs play their music on a hi-fi speaker system, and everybody's just like listening to the music and enjoying it without dancing. Mm-hmm. I heard there is some talk about Modellphasen in Schleswig-Holstein, which we could something like a tutorial level for trying out the possibilities to be able to dance in a club again. But that's future talk, and I don't think. Yeah, let's not talk about the virus anymore.
Let's not talk about it. Well, let's come to basically what this show is about. It's absolutely on music, and you brought some music today. As I did myself.
Hopefully.
Well. I was actually hoping you would. No.
My stick.
I know. So, what is actually a track, or maybe like a piece of music that you would like to share with us and our listeners as a starter or as for today?
I thought I'm gonna start a bit more mellow than the first start you did last time without me, and I picked something from the label Cannes, which I think many already know. It's the label from Mapache, Seven Soul, and Bender, I believe, which always is I'm very curious when I hear there are more artists involved from different types of electronic music. It's always interesting to see what they pick, what they release, and how they release it. And I picked something from a young name, which is, the real name is Ergin Erteber. The project is called Innere Türen, and he already released an LP on Cannes, and now he returns with a 7-track EP called Welten, which translated would mean worlds. And I find myself listening to music like that in the last weeks pretty often, which is something between kraut, rock, indie, but also electronica and field recordings.
So, what's the track or your choice that you would like to share with us?
I picked the track called Everything I Couldn't Tell You.
Oh.
Yeah,
it kind of sounds romantic, or like
romantic.
kind of like with a love story with a bad ending. I believe it's not.
No, it's pretty melancholic, I'd say, but it's also, let's have a listen, right?
Let's give it a start. So that was the first track from
Innere Türen from
And
Kann.
on Cannes Records, and the album is called
Welten.
Welten, which means world in English, to be honest. So, yeah, a lot of music is actually coming out these days, and a lot of labels have been holding back a lot of music, which is now seeing the light of day, so to say. Do you find it actually hard to pick or find some music at the moment, or how do you, or what digging tactics or strategies do you have at the moment to find those jams or tracks that you enjoy most?
Actually, I must admit, a big part of digging is through algorithms of certain websites or streaming platforms. But yeah, in this case, I was following Cannes since many years now, and it just popped off. And yeah, following the artist that you like, that is the key, actually.
Yeah, basically it's kind of like a puzzle. You follow one and then you get another piece, and then you find another piece, like in this whole thing, and then at the end you have like the not saying a complete puzzle, but because the puzzle will never be completed, because we'll always find another piece to add, kind of, but
exactly.
But that's how it basically
works.
And
try to let the algorithms work for you.
Yeah.
But not completely for you. you can.
Sometimes you have to break out of the algorithm in order to find new things, basically, and to kind of get rid of the routines you have been or have gotten used to for too long, probably.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's kind of like the same. Like I'm saying, I'm in a position that like where I receive a lot of music, and sometimes it's quite difficult for me to decide whether I like a track or what music to check, because you are basically overrun by the music at the moment, I must say.
And also a big factor is when you're talking about club music, there's no resonance, there's no audience where you could get something from.
Yeah, which makes it quite difficult at the moment. Not like because there is no audience or because you don't know actually where to play the music, but also because every time you check the tracks over your headphones, mostly. At least that's how I listen to music at home.
I still have a club though, but it's
and then you kind of have to imagine like how this could possibly sound in a club or being played to a bigger crowd, and so it takes a lot of imagination, and the imagination, I would say, has gotten lost a little bit over the past months, honestly speaking.
It's on hold since over 1 year. It's normal that things we aren't as concentrated.
Has your taste in music basically or actually changed over the past couple of months a little, would you say, or would you say it's pretty much the same, or have you discovered like a certain kind of music that you maybe did not enjoy back then, or as much as back then, maybe?
It's getting way deeper, and it makes perfect sense for me, since I'm not. People don't expect me to play certain tunes that are functional, and I always, as a musician, try to find aspects of the music that kick me, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a banger or a 4 to the floor house track.
I mean, it can be.
It also can be, but it's way, rather.
Well, it's becoming more varied in a bit, or like a bit wider, like the taste, like not only focusing on those kind of club bangers, as you said, or maybe the tracks like to fill in a set. So it's more like you focus on the real tracks that you really do love, and not only like how they could possibly function or work in a set. Speaking
exactly. Well, but what have you brought with you today?
Like since you speak or spoke of deep music, and my taste basically has changed also a little bit, I would say, or kind of like focusing, or I'm focusing a little bit more on music that or how I got into electronic music. So this was like kind of like music that's more housey, more classic house, and contains some kind of vocals, and is still pretty melodic, because this is how I basically got started with the music, since I come from the R&B genre. And this was like not as much of a big step to get into electronic music. Like if you would assume me playing techno music coming from an R&B background, that would be like a big, or would have been a big step. So
yeah, some Robert Hood stuff, and that's it. No,
exactly. So I brought some deep music from a Belgian artist called Ricky Rousseau, who had a release, or who just had a release on a French label called Happiness Therapy, a 4-tracker. And Ricky Rousseau had he's been producing music probably longer than he's been releasing it, but his first release dates back to 2018, which was a Cycles EP on Hauseum Records. You probably know Hauseum. The site that also runs a lot of classy house music premieres on their YouTube channel. Always worth checking out. And he also returned to the label last year for a split EP called Two of a Kind, which makes sense because since it's a split EP, which he did with Mark Brauner, and each delivering 3 tracks each. Then he was contributing a track to Darker Than Wax Body Clock Volume 1 last year, and now he has released a 4-tracker on Happiness Therapy called Power of Love. And his releases focus on classy elements, I would say. Like you have those organs and piano chords, but also a little bit of acid in it, and kind of like the 90s vibe that is, I'm not saying having a revival at the moment, but kind of has. Like I feel the piano is coming back. There's a lot of piano music out there at the moment, with this Euro trance vibe, like which was typical for the 90s. But Ricky kind of puts those elements together so they do not really sound cheesy, which I find quite interesting. Of course, you can always argue whether it's too cheesy for somebody or not, but I feel he's not crossing that line. And this makes it rather interesting. So,
actually, I want to quote a good friend of mine who said, "Is there really something like too cheesy?" Well, on a pizza, for example.
Yeah, probably mozzarella.
You'd still eat it, though.
Well, I think it's the personal taste.
Yeah,
whether
of course.
Your line is crossed, but not generally crossing a line. Even so, I think there's some tracks that we can all agree on, or a lot of people can agree on, that are maybe a little bit too cheesy. So I brought the EP title track, Power of Love, that I would like to share with you guys, and I believe here we go. right. So that was the EP's name-giving track, Power of Love.
Huey Lewis,
From
actually.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Right.
Huey
you're
Lewis. I think producers are getting way more comfortable just using samples that they didn't use 2 or 3 years ago, actually.
Or yeah, you probably would not have. And then like I feel the entire house sound is probably having a comeback when or at the moment they do, and I believe even a lot more. Also like this soulful house music, like Masters at Work and
absolutely,
and
hands up. I said it.
Yeah, you just said
up.
it, but nobody could hear.
Yeah, I'm saying it again.
But I feel like this sound will, not saying having a revival, because it will of course progress in a way, but I feel this will not going to say the next big thing, but it will be or will return to the clubs and dance floors, and I like all this positive energy after all the things we have to go through at the moment. So
you heard it here first. Renaissance of house music 2021.
Yeah,
it's happening.
I'm telling you now. Listen to me. No, but I believe so.
Yeah, I think so too. It's way more. You hear a lot of good sample flips actually, more and more.
Yeah.
There are a lot of bad ones. Just check the top 10 on Beatport or any other big platform, and you're gonna find badly used samples. But now it's good. I can listen through this without going crazy. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is definitely an artist that you have to or you should check out.
Rick Razoo.
Rick Razoo on Happiness Therapy, French label, like I said before.
Could also be a wrestler, Ricky Razoo.
Ricky Razoo.
From the Brazilian jungle.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Or
just a pretty good house producer. Yeah, it's okay for me.
But it's okay. It's okay being a house producer.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's see. What else have you got for us today, Mark?
I actually got a track or an EP by a big artist now, Steve Moore, who is known for his releases on Lies. I'd say must be the most successful ones yet. And he released a 4-track EP on Cologne-based Compact. And we have Michael Mayer, and I guess needs no introduction.
No, the label probably doesn't.
Yeah, but Steve Moore actually.
Steve Moore.
I don't know if you know Steve Moore. He's also.
I'm not entirely aware of him.
Yeah, he keeps a low profile, but he also is a soundtrack producer actually, which you can also hear on the EP. He has some ambient tunes. One ambient tune on this 4-track EP and many other ones on Lies.
So it's rather a spheric release, or should I imagine like when you say a film producer, like is it like a really cinematic approach that he's having on this one, or?
Yeah, but with one eye on the dance floor.
Oh, okay.
Obviously,
it's
very interesting, and it's a bit more trancey here and there, but on the other hand, it's really a soundtrack vibe, like some synthy stuff which you could compare to early Kraftwerk stuff.
So not like let's say it like this, the mainstream trance influence that we have. What we still do have at the moment. I'm not saying or calling out any artist, because that just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, everybody got to decide that for their own good. But yeah, let's listen to Assemblers from the 4-track EP on Compact. I'm looking for the name of the EP actually.
What's it called?
I believe it's called like the first track, which is Assemblers.
All right, then let's give it a listen.
Here we go. Shame on Me.
So,
I
what's
told
the
her-
EP called, my dear?
I knew it started with A, but it's actually Auto Sequence Start,
All right.
out on Compact,
Yeah.
a week ago, I believe.
Well, you could definitely hear, like, I'm not saying the cineastic influence, but this spheric, which could make it cineastic in a way. Trancey, but not the cheesy trance
Not too cheesy.
to pick up the word cheese again. Yeah, quite a lovely, interesting one. Are the other tracks on EP, do you happen to know, are they like in the same style, or do they differ from the original, or from the original one, but from that one?
As I mentioned, there's one track on it. It's called Shining Rainbow. That's an ambient piece, I would say, without a beat. The other ones have also, have been produced with one eye on the dance floor, as Assemblers was.
All right.
So it's a big pack for a 4-track EP actually.
Definitely worth checking out, I would say.
Yeah. Now hit me with your number 2.
Oh, my number 2 in this month is an EP from Berlin-based city.
Ooh, shout outs to Cindy. She has actually been to Luna Club. She was one of the last ones playing.
Yeah,
before.
like she posted some stuff on her social media, like a Handkäse, kind of like a kind of cheese. And this is like a typical dish from Frankfurt, and then somebody was like, "Oh, are you from Frankfurt originally, or affiliates?" And then it came out that her partner is from Frankfurt. Maybe that's a reason. Well, maybe I'm not choosing the right words now, but one of the tracks on her new EP on the Deep House label, Shall Not Fade, is called Offenbach. Probably a lot of people from Frankfurt will say, okay, Offenbach is not Frankfurt, but I feel myself that
Agree to
people-
disagree.
Yeah, I think we should all be over that. Maybe there's a rivalry when it comes to football or soccer, as you can say, but definitely not when it comes to music. As the Robert Johnson Club is in Offenbach.
Yeah, I was
well.
just about to ask you. You know the region pretty well, I believe, when it comes to clubs.
Yeah,
Offenbach or Frankfurt.
I do not make a difference,
Okay.
to be honest. And my family or my grandmother lives close to the border to Offenbach, so that's never been really an issue for me. Of course, like as a child, you do make those little or stupid jokes about.
Or when
the
you're into
cities.
football, maybe.
Yeah, but
Patriotism in cities is a football thing.
Yeah, it's but I would still like in my eyes like I was too young so that both teams did not really play in the same league.
Okay.
So yeah, it was always Frankfurt when it came to football, and when it comes to clubs, I just do not care.
Seems fair.
Yeah, so Cindy has a new 4-tracker on Charlotte Fate. Like she recently had not released herself, but her album that came out last year, City Lights on Will Salt's All's Music, big one, and the album was really well received.
It's hard to pick a hit on that one.
Yeah, maybe. Well, you could say City Lights was one of the tracks,
If
and
you
then
listen to it,
bassline. But
crazy.
like, I really do enjoy her influences or musical influences that, like this UKG vibe paired or combined with house music and deep house, and you always have those deep chords, and then the vocals. Like again, people would say that's. She sometimes has a tendency to call her style a little bit handbag-ish in a way.
Handbag-ish.
Yeah. Handbag house. Some would say, but I truly think it's not really hitting the nail on its head. I do believe like the vocals she's using. Of course, it has like this 90s vibe always that she loves, and also her recommendations from her record store that she runs, Elevate, in Berlin. She has a pretty proper selection when it comes to music, I have to say. And she's kind of like one of the key players when it comes to house music at the moment, I would say.
And vinyl as well,
Yeah, and vinyl as well.
Yeah.
Since she's one of the few artists, or not few, but there's like an entire
in
scene.
Germany, you could say it's a few. I think it's not as
I think there's like the scene is probably bigger in France and in Italy
Romania
and Belgium.
Yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, she has EP on Charlotte Fate called Free Fall. I'm not playing the Offenbach track, but not for the reason that I do not like or want the track to be played. But I chose a different one. It's called Oh No No No.
Oh no.
And it's a bumping bass line, and it has like those intriguing deep chords and a typical house vocal sample that I would like to show you guys. And it's probably one of the shorter tracks on the EP. So let's give it a listen. Right, so that was Cinti Oh No 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 on Shall Not Fade, and this one was the B1 track, if I wrote it down correctly. I have to check since I do not want to make stupid mistakes.
I always loved the artwork from Shall Not Fade. It's awesome. They have this gothic style logo back in the days.
Yeah, it's become quite, at least like the latest covers have become quite colorful. And there's a lot of good music coming out on the label at the moment. Kind of like, I'm not saying weekly, but they had like a maybe it is
huge
weekly,
output.
Huge output, but all quality. There's at least 1 or 2 tracks on each EP that I would definitely play at the moment. So also kind of hitting the vibe that I mentioned before. From like the Ricky Razoo, like maybe not as piano-like or piano-esque as that one, but definitely
more strings, more classic, New Yorkish.
Yeah, in a way, and more like back to the roots. So yeah, that was the Synth EP. Let's play the ball back to you, Mark. What is your last track, or which track from the EP? From the
3
EP
years
that you bring?
Yeah, 3 is the magic number.
So the magic number. So what's the magic?
Some magical stuff. No, just joking. It's actually a release.
Unicorn time.
Unicorn time. Here we come. Handbag house and unicorn techno. Here we go. Absolutely on music.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, my last release, and actually the release of the month, of my month, is by Moomin. Maybe known for his Smallville releases, but also known for those who know. Longtime resident at Luna Club, actually, has made his way to Hamburg and now to Berlin, I believe, and he's also running a mixing and mastering studio. His real name is Sebastian Gens.
Something a lot of artists have kind of gotten into, like especially producers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a thing you can do during quarantine, and also if you have the ear for it, it's many people ask about it.
Which we fairly have to say, not too many do. I mean, having the ear for that, really precise and work that you have to do there.
Yeah, let's focus on music now, because when we get into the mastering, it's like football or everything. We could discuss for hours.
Exactly.
And actually, I got the remix on the EP, which it's also a 4-track EP, and it's called the Snoofer EP. But I won't show you the title track. I will show you the track for Willow and a special remix by UK producer Seb Wyblood, who has been on my radar for like almost all of the time during the pandemic.
And why is that? Like what is his influence, or
brilliant.
What is his
It's brilliant.
Brilliant.
I can't put it into words. It's like very warm, but still BPM wise a bit higher and uplifting and fresh, I'd say.
All right. So I'm always here to listen to something fresh and exciting. And
let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go. and a remix of him. So yeah,
I think I haven't said it's on Oath Recordings.
yeah.
Cryptic label. I haven't found too much on it. 2 releases. It's the second one.
Yeah, actually, I found the same release a couple of weeks ago. Well, not a couple of weeks ago. It's probably been since it was on pre-sale, and I would have chosen the same track. So, good choice, Mark.
But I'm curious. What have you chosen instead?
Well, instead, I chose the upcoming release from Damiano von Erckert. Damiano, kind of like, which is funny, like back in the days, probably dating back to like the 2010s, 11 something. He was pretty much releasing music only on his labels.
Ava, right?
That's the first one, Ava, and the second one was DVE Records.
DVE, okay.
And those 2 labels were like where he put out all his music, and probably one of the most, or his biggest hit so far was, or back then was Hausem, the 2.0 version, which was which was also signed by Defected Ibiza compilation, or it was on there, and I think this is probably one of the biggest hits he had put out back then. Now he returns to Oz Music, Will Salt's label again, the one Cindy released her album on.
I see a pattern.
Then, yeah, the pattern basically is that Damiano kind of must have met up with Cindy at the Elevate store, or something must have happened in Berlin, since he lives in Berlin, but he's partly in Frankfurt, since he's like has a very deep connection to the Robert Johnson club and Atta. And so he's there. I'm not sure, since that's his private stuff, if he's still there because of the law or something. This is something I don't know. Probably not important.
As long as the bangers keep on coming.
Yeah, and it's his second EP on the label. He remixed remixed Cinti on the one before on All's Music. So basically it's 3 in a row now, coming from Damiano. All quality stuff, all having like this certain kind of house note. I think he has a very specific sound, like his signature sound. It's always like sticking to one groove and adding kind of like this cosmic, not saying trancey elements because it's not trancey, but it has this cosmic vibe. And then partly, not always, but a lot of times adds a vocal in it, like that supports the groove, basically. Yeah. Kind of like his track on the Lifesaver compilation at Live at Robert Johnson, which was
with the clouds on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the track was called Hideaway. It kind of like the new one, kind of, which is called Pete.
Pete.
First thing I was not Pistol Pete. I was thinking of Pete Tong, but
Pete.
Not sure where that connection comes from or why he chose the title Pete for it, but Pete is definitely going into or similar direction as his track on the Lifesaver compilation. Probably was produced at the same time. I don't know. There's 2 other tracks on the EP. One that has already been premiered. It's called
F&D.
F&D, and the third one is Mars. Probably the most techno, or the one with the most techno-ish vibe. Pretty interesting one. But I chose Pete, which you can listen to now. And yeah, I hope you do enjoy it as much as I do. So let's give it a start.
Okay, Damiano von Eckert was playing with the track Pete from Aus Music.
Yes, pretty good one. And as I said before, pretty hitting the nail on its head, like with the groove and
Another anthem.
yeah, totally for the summer.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
But now, let's move on, and it is my pleasure to introduce you to Holger's set for the next hour, and afterwards we're gonna do analysis of the set, and we will. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, have a blast.